welcome back to Abyss Day. Just a bunch of clowns here talking about some scary shit.
Yeah, clowns, just a bunch of clowns.
We never got anything back from that person. I know it's only been a week, but no other comments have come through. So
Yeah, I asked them for critical feedback, but nope.
I'm a little disappointed.
It's been quite the week.
What happened to you this week?
Well, I had the day off, so as a responsible 30-year-old, went and set a doctor appointment for myself. I had to
Good
get
for
some
you.
prescriptions filled. I moved recently, so I decided to, get a new physician that was like 2 minutes away, right? So you got to sign all the stupid paperwork and things like that. And I'm sitting there in the office, and the, I don't know if it's the nurse, but the lady at the front, secretary, or what would you call them? I don't know. But she, has me fill out the forms, and she goes, "Are you just here for cannabis?"
What?
And yeah. And
Did she say it like, are you here for cannabis? Like helpful, or was like, are you just here for cannabis like everyone else?
It seemed a little derogative, and it really kind of threw me off because I never hear the term cannabis, right? I know what it is, but everyone calls it weed, right?
It's weed. Yeah, exactly.
Like, do you mean weed?
You're like, oh, that weed stuff?
And then I said no, and I sounded surprised, and she's like, well, that's what everyone is here today for. And it just seemed really strange to me. So I guess in Utah, I guess medical marijuana is legal, I guess.
I didn't know that. I thought it was, just like everything in Utah, everything's not allowed. You're not allowed to have fun in Utah.
Well, do you consider that fun?
No, but a lot of people do.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, but the thing, literally though, it's everything, like the liquor laws are the worst.
I wish I
Everything
could
is
buy
illegal. You can't gamble.
liquor
You can't
at Costco.
Right.
Could you imagine?
There's a
buying,
brand
like,
new Costco going in down the street. It would be amazing.
Giant
to go buy
thing
it.
of whiskey. Like, oh my god, that would be something else. We don't sell 40s here. We sell 80s.
Yeah, I just want, and it'd be cool to gamble every now and again.
Yeah, I'm not big on gambling, but yeah,
you suck at it, dude. Well, that's kind of interesting though. I haven't been asked that when I go to the doctor. I haven't.
Yeah, that was a first for me. So, as our tradition is, we will be drinking Voodoo Ranger tonight.
Ooh.
I'm going to bust mine open.
From New Belgium Brewery.
No sound, but I opened it with a butter knife.
As per Cleat rule.
That's what we do in Utah.
So, our topic tonight, we're going back into Reddit. This is our third jump into Reddit. Full disclosure here, it's been a really crazy week, so we didn't really get a whole lot of time to sit down and research a subject. We have a lot of subjects on standby ready to go, but sometimes it's just fun to jump in, talk about some Reddit stuff, and we've got a pretty good Reddit thread. So, Cleet, kick us off. What are we talking about in this Reddit thread tonight?
Well, it matches our beer, so we're just going to be a couple Voodoo Rangers here. We're going to be covering serious Reddit, hikers, campers, woodsmen, and the like. What are your scariest experiences in them there woods?
In them there woods.
That's how I talk, right?
That is how you talk.
Sometimes I go to my
You're like,
terrible
come
grammar.
and record in this here my house. Like, don't talk to me like that, bro.
And when we're done, I go back where you came.
This ain't where you came. Go back home, boy. A lot of shit happens camping, I feel. It's a really good spot to experience things that you wouldn't experience anywhere else.
It's a very vulnerable place for you, right? Because if you're in a tent, there's nothing really protecting you from, like, a bear or other predators. Or even just, like, crazy people.
So I love camping. I don't know. I guess it's a love-hate relationship. I love getting camping and you're sitting there hanging out by the fire, drinking some drinks, having some snacks. But I can only do it for like a day or two, then I just get upset because I'm like, I'm dirty. I want to go home. I've been sleeping in a fucking sleeping bag for the whole time. I'm talking like tents and stuff. If you had a trailer, it kind of helps, but I don't know. But I haven't had anything crazy happen to me while camping.
Yeah. I mean, the last time we went really deep in the woods. And just to think about, like, if you were to zoom out, just how surrounded you are by the wilderness. I mean, there could be anything out there. One thing I will say, though, if I go camping again this year or next year, I'm going to bring my gun. All right, let me jump into the first story.
This is by Sardine Wolf Panther. That's quite the name.
God, he's a badass. My buddies and I were camping in the woods of Yosemite, California. We were the only ones in the area, and we knew this because of the camping registry. Ooh, that's an omen.
Yep.
One thing about Yosemite is that place has the most disappearances, like strange disappearances of any other camping area.
Oh, so these guys are great because they're there alone, which they've confirmed through the camping registry. This is going to be a good story.
All right.
But I mean, they're telling the tale, so they obviously didn't get lost.
We were quite literally the only ones in a 20-mile radius. My God, could you imagine that? Anyways, everything was great and normal, and our campsite was on the side of a lake. At night, we all shared an 8-man tent.
An 8-man tent. I would feel like that. I don't know. I would need my own tent.
That's too big tent. Hey, when you have more people, you feel a little bit more safe. There's a false sense of security, or maybe it is a real sense of security.
Okay, well then split them half and half. Do 4 and 4.
All right, there we go.
8 people in one tent.
It was cozy with 8 guys in the tent, but not horrible. At about 3 a.m. the first night, we were all suddenly awoken by one member of our group standing up in the tent and frantically opening the tent door.
It's like Blair Witch shit.
Yeah, what would you do, man? I would just let him go. I'd be like, dude, he's got to take a dump or something.
Like, my God. The zipper's at the bottom. Just slowly pull it up.
Don't
do your
pee
business.
in the tent. I swear to God.
There's 8 of us in here. Go outside.
He poked his head out and began super frantically and nervously saying, "There's someone in our camp."
Nope.
Oh, God.
Nope.
See, that's why you got to bring your gun. Yep. Straight up, you need to bring your gun.
All 8 people are...
And then I grabbed my gun.
Jesus, man, grab my gun. Sounded a little weird saying that.
Yeah, probably. He kept repeating it and sounded absolutely terrified. Needless to say, we were fucking horrified. That's
as you should be.
Will someone put up a Jesus in this damn story? All right. That someone might be in our camp because we knew that we were supposed to be alone. I didn't even think about that, right?
Because 20-mile radius, there's no one there.
There's a theory that there is wild men in national parks. And what I mean by wild men is... like, you know how, like, in history they found people that have, like, survived in the wilderness as children and they're not, like, civilized?
Right.
There's a theory that there's a bunch of wild men just in the national parks, and that explains disappearances. Anyways, I digress. Everyone who had just woken up was looking at each other with mortified looks on our faces. After about 15 seconds of saying that someone was in our camp, he laid back down like nothing had ever happened and slept.
Fuck? 15 seconds and then just snores away.
What would you do? I'd fucking wake him up. I'd be like, hey.
I'm assuming he's sleepwalking or something.
Oh, man. I would feel like it's a prank, and then I'd be like, well, maybe he's sleepwalking. Well, because he woke me up, I'm going to wake him up.
Like, thanks for waking me up at 3 a.m., dick.
The motherfucker was sleepwalking.
I knew it.
And there was no one in the camp. It was hard to fall back asleep.
Nice. So, good old-fashioned sleepwalking in the middle of nowhere. Dude, that would be dangerous, because can you imagine if he had gotten out of his tent and just walked into the forest sleepwalking?
Oh, man.
Man, they probably, I don't know, maybe they
would
have found him, but yeah, like, he could have gotten seriously lost or injured or both, Just sleepwalking is no joke. So this one comes from Ferret_80. I was camping in Pennsylvania with someone from West Coast once. We were sitting around the fire talking, and he looks up and gets really quiet and says he sees someone coming towards us. We hadn't seen anyone on the trail in the 3 days we'd been out so far, and the trail log didn't show anyone else on the trail either. After a bit, he says he can't see them anymore. This happens a few times. Every 2 minutes, he would say he can see someone coming towards us up the trail, then saying he can't see them. I'd be like, dude, shut up.
Yeah, I would too.
Shut up. Literally, there's no one here. And we can't hear any footsteps, and nobody has even walked by us. Eventually, he tries to point them out to us. See the light over there? It's like a headlamp flashing as they pass trees. Turns out he was seeing lightning bugs for the first time and was mistaking one for a hiker's headlamp. We had a good laugh over that. He was amazed at the lightning bugs. I even caught one so he could get a close look at it. So this guy has no idea what a fucking bug is?
I hate him.
Wow. You feel so strongly about it, huh?
I do. I hate him. I would never go camping with him again.
That, sir, is a squirrel. That
is not Alvin.
That is a bird.
Do you see that? That's a lake.
Rocks.
So I guess this is another response to that story because they said, I have a similar story. Myself and a friend were on a 7-week trip from L.A. to New York, where we always stayed in the same room. Everyone was fine for the first 3-ish weeks until we got to a hotel in Miami that had an adjoining door to the next room that was occupied by strangers. This doesn't seem like they're in the woods.
So I'm slow on this part. I apologize, but God, a 7-week trip? That's a long ass trip.
Some people have money.
Yeah, I wish I could do a 7-week trip from Los Angeles to New York.
I've had some of those hotels. I mean, I don't travel a lot, so I don't go to a lot of hotels. But I remember as a kid, we would stay at hotels with the adjoining doors where you could get 2 rooms.
Yeah.
Anyway, after a good night, we got back to the hotel at probably 2 a.m. and basically went straight to bed. I fell asleep immediately because we had been getting up at 5 and leaving at 6, so I was tired. About an hour passes, and all of a sudden, I'm jerked awake by my friend yelling, "Get the fuck out." Always have the F words. Several times. I sit straight up, heart beating out of my chest, and see she is standing at the end of my bed staring at the adjoining door.
What the fuck?
That's creepy. I look away for a second and turn back to turn on the desk lamp, and when I look back, she is now awake, focused on her luggage, and folding her clothes. And I'm like, "What in the actual fuck, love? You were just screaming." And she was like, "What?"
What? No, I wasn't. Just folding my clothes at 6 a.m.
It freaked me the fuck out to this
As you
day.
said before.
I have no idea the entirety of what actually happened, and I have a bunch of questions without answers because she can't remember. Like, did she fall asleep folding clothes? Or was there a noise to make her think someone was in the room?
She's like, "Get the fuck out," while folding clothes. That narrative doesn't quite make sense. Okay, so this one comes from BH Crom 831. Went turkey hunting with my dad in the Shawnee National Forest several years ago. I was about 10. Took one afternoon to hike and scout hunting spots. Along the trail, we saw a few blood splatters and drips, but no big deal. It's nature. Yeah, because nature just bleeds. Let me tell you.
There's a bleeding rock right there and a bleeding hummingbird.
See that, son? That's one of them bleeding aspens. It just happens. About a fourth of a mile up the trail, however, we come up to 3 dogs hanging from a tree, gutted, bled out, and skinned. Oh, what's going on in fucking Shawnee National Forest? Okay, now that was pretty weird and scary. We kept going a bit further as there was a bluff not too far up the way that was pretty cool to look at.
So they're just like, oh, well, there's these obviously murdered dogs. And they're like, let's just keep going.
When you say obviously murder, they don't just climb up the tree, skin themselves. I see. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thanks for clarifying. Come to the bluff, find weird symbols burned into the ground and on the sides of the rock wall. Oh, Jesus. Candle wax absolutely everywhere and more blood all over the ground. By that time, my dad, whom I've never seen scared in my life, looked at me and said, "Let's go." And we took off at a pretty quick pace back to the camp. The worst part is that we didn't leave the campsite that night, so I laid awake in the camper freaking out at every sound I heard. Still get goosebumps thinking about that event to this day.
I feel like there was a lot of questionable decisions going on with that hike.
Very questionable.
Not only did they not stop at the obviously like someone murderous had to done that to the dogs. They're like, let's keep going.
Right.
And then they go back like, let's spend the night.
Murdered dogs? Who cares? Let's go. Wax symbols? We're good. Let's go back and sleep. No. You get to point A with the dogs, you turn around, you go home.
Yeah, that's what
it.
I would have even gotten up there.
It's just like everything that happens, it's scary. It's all fucking questionable. Just use your goddamn judgment, people.
The next one is by Ronald Ray Gun. Like a ray gun. You can shoot him. So there's a picture on this, and let's pull up the picture. We'll look at it together.
A picture?
So there's a tarp, a couple of trees, some leaves.
Oh, what the fuck? Right there.
Yeah, you see the eyes? Uh-oh.
Oh.
What do you think that is? If you took that picture, what do you think that is?
It's eyeballs.
Well, I'm just saying, like, human, animal? I think it's a bear.
So it might be. I mean, it's look at it from relative to the ground. I mean, it's like human height, I would say.
Or it could be in the distance. Could be some car lights.
We'll post this on our YouTube video. I mean, if not the picture, we'll post the link. I don't know, for copyright reasons, whatever, but check it out. It's insane.
We'll put it on YouTube. All right. So this picture was taken a couple of years ago by my buddy. If you look to the right, you can see 2 little white eye-like dots. The thing is, we hiked 3 miles into the valley, so there's no way they were man-made lights. So that car thing's off the table.
Right.
We didn't notice the dots until the next morning, and as soon as we did, we were quick to pack up and leave.
You know what this is, though? You know what it is? It's them lightning bugs. It's just 2 lightning bugs flying together. That's
They
all
just happen to look parallel.
Yeah.
So they're like eyeballs.
It's tandem lightning bug flying.
They were just trying to spook them.
Okay. All right, so this next one is brought to us by Reason Not Faith, and it is a pretty lengthy one, but let's talk about it.
Have faith.
I was at a lake in the woods fishing with my 4-year-old kid and wife. There was nobody there except us. The lake was surrounded by a dense forest of trees, brush, and the like. We were about 50 yards from our vehicle down a hill at the bank with our poles resting in the water. The fishing was slow, so I decided to test out my new camera. Oh, we're going to get some more pictures maybe. So I walked around the general area while my wife sat with our child and tended the fishing poles. I walked up a hill from the bank and through the dense trees to the mouth of a clearing where all of a sudden I see 4 guys approximately 20 yards away just out there in the woods. Not really suspicious
Were
yet.
they just like sitting there? Or?
They're just sitting there drinking some
I need
beers.
more
And he's
details.
like,
Was it
"Hey,
King
take
of the
some
Hill?
Pictures. There's 4 gentlemen in the woods. The fuck is this? They looked like a cross between grunge band members and deep woods hillbillies. Oh my god.
You know, both of those attributes mean like they were really dirty.
I'm trying to picture a grunge band mixed with a hillbilly.
It's like the features of a hillbilly, like they can't take care of themselves, but a grunge person where they just don't shower. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I sure could as hell smell them.
I don't know. They were dirty, had unwashed looking raggedy hair and clothes. We were in the boondocks, so he's like, so you're, okay, so this is normal people for that area. They just stood there looking at me for what seemed like a good solid 2 or 3 minutes. The look in this one's eyes of either desperation or malevolent intentions.
You know what you gotta do in that situation, Britton? It's
What?
very crucial. You just stare back.
Yeah. Now you're just establishing dominance.
Yep.
The first one to look away is the loser. He's the beta. I played it off and just focused my camera in a different direction. See, he lost. He's like, nope, not going to look at you. So he is the beta in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Then I noticed that one of them had somehow managed to move closer to where I was, and I immediately felt really uneasy. I mean, why in the hell were these guys out here so far in the middle of nowhere? No fishing poles, no hiking gear, nothing. The one that had moved closer to me said out of the blue, "Hey, won't you come and take our picture?" Nope. Then he kind of half giggled, revealing rotted-looking mouth. Ugh. He had as much teeth as a jack-o'-lantern.
I would ask him if he worked for Colgate. Hey, do you work for Colgate? And giggle right back. It's all about dominance.
It is. Not to judge this guy, he just looked very sketchy, and I could definitely feel his intentions were not good. I kind of smiled back nervously and just kind of nodded and started making my way back to my family in the fishing spot. As I walked away, I heard one of the ones in the distance holler, "Hey man, come over here, we want you to take our picture." And then heard the others laughing, and I noticed they were slowly making their way towards my direction. They were talking amongst themselves and laughing sinisterly. At this point, I could not make out what they were saying that good at this point, as I was actually quickly...
Hang on. You know what this reminds me of?
What's up?
Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Oh, I love that fucking movie.
Because it's just like, these guys probably had like the best intentions. They're like, wow, I haven't seen someone with a camera in a long time. Let's have them take our picture, like laughing. They're having a good time.
There's a couple buddies in the woods, like, let's get a picture.
That guy looks like a real good guy. I bet he'll take our picture. And this guy's like, oh my God.
He's walking away. They're like, hey, come take our picture. We're just a couple of good guys.
Tell me that doesn't match the plot, though, here.
That's a twist. That's good. I like it. I could not make out what they were saying that good at this point, as I was casually but quickly leaving the area. I did make out a few comments like, yeah, I think he's alone. And others say, nah, something, his car's right over that way.
Do you think he's part of that suicide cult?
Anyway, I finally made it back down to the bank and immediately told my wife to quickly start gathering our shit and head back to the car. She could tell by the sound of my voice and demeanor that something was wrong. We both half-heartedly packed up, grabbed the kid, and headed up the bank or the hill to where our vehicle was at. Still, the only other people out there. Right as we got to the car, I noticed, and my wife saw for the first time what I was getting away from, they were in the distance coming out of the woods and heading right towards us. Guys, these guys just want their picture taken. Just take their picture and
They're
then
just
go home.
They're just 4 hillbillies just trying to get a picture taken.
That's it. Why are you being such an asshole, dude? You got a camera, they want your picture taken. Don't be a dick. We threw our shit in the back, jumped in the car, and started heading out. I didn't want to worry my wife, but had the realization that there was only one way out of there, which was an old dirt road that meandered through the woods and passed near where they were at. I was afraid we might get cut off, so I floored it and just thought I will not stop for nothing. As we were making our way out, I saw something out of the peripheral vision, and yep, it was one of them in full stride running towards us. This time I noticed he had something in his right hand that looked like an elongated tire iron or something. We lost him in the woods just about as they made it to the road. A while later, maybe 30 minutes, we made it to the old country concrete highway that led back to the city. At this point, we seen another vehicle in the distance coming in our direction. It was a beat-up old work truck. I thought, oh fucking shit, they caught to us.
I still think they just wanted a picture taken. It was probably one of their birthdays, and he was a mechanic, and he's like, let me grab my tire iron so I can get this picture done.
Or
they
he just noticed that their tire was loose. He's like, bro, you got a loose tire.
There we go.
I want to help you. Take my picture.
And then they're afraid that his wheel's going to come off.
So they're
just
following
chasing him. Like, dude, he needs help.
These are just law-abiding citizens. They're just trying to help. This family, they're assholes. Like, just take their fucking picture. Then, as the vehicle approached, we got a much better look at the occupants. An old couple and the husband looked like an older lumberjack type, definitely looked like he could take care of himself. Okay. They slowed down as they approached, rolled out the window, and he asked if everything was okay and if we were lost. I said, no, we know how to get back to the main highway from here. I told him about what had happened back there, and he didn't even seem fazed. He told me that they just wanted their picture taken. Just kidding. He just said that we should not be out here alone. There's been some stories. I didn't ask, and then he said that he never comes out here without his rifle and his Nam knife. I'm assuming Vietnam military knife. Anyway, we thanked them and got the hell out of there, never to return. Yeah, you know, Cleet, I'm with you. I think they were just good buddies, wanting their picture taken, having a good time.
They just wanted to have a Kodak moment, and he wouldn't give it to him.
Who was it that wrote this one? Reason Not Faith. You're an asshole. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, let's go to the next one. Good story. This one is by Daver2442. Camping in general can be freaky. Not so much during the day, but when it gets dark. See, this guy's editorializing his story, you know? He's like, oof. Oh, and then it gets dark.
Oh, all caps, dark.
You know, what he doesn't say is you can really see the stars, though. Whenever people say the Blair Witch Project wasn't scary, I always ask them if they've ever been camping. I'll give it to him, dude. The Blair Witch was pretty scary. I'll take that.
No,
it scared the crap
pretty
out of me.
I watched it when I was pretty young, maybe a couple years after it came out, and then I bought it a couple years ago because it was on Blu-ray. Dude, it's still pretty freaky. It was like the first successful lost footage film.
Yeah.
It was creepy, dude.
Mockumentary. It's what started it. I'm an unpopular opinion. I loved it because it had me on the toes, my toes the entire time, but I hated the ending.
Yeah, the ending
hated it.
Did you hate it because it was it genuinely
anticlimactic?
Oh, I see.
Because it was just building up, and I don't know. It didn't do it.
Yeah. Did you see the remake that came out not too long ago?
I did not, actually.
Wasn't that good. I mean, it's not the original. It was better than the cheap second one they tried to do. But
I think I saw the second one. It was not even
so
the same
bad. No.
movie.
Anyway, back to this story.
Okay, if you have then, that movie probably freaks you the fuck out.
Yep.
Laying in your tent at night, not knowing what is 3 feet away from you, is terrifying. It's pitch black and quiet. Like being alone in a creaky old house, except with a 10 times multiplier.
Oh.
That's such a weird...
That is a weird description.
Yeah.
You know, Cleet, it's like being in a house, except times 10 multiplier.
It's like, wouldn't it be like in a creaky house, except you're not in a house?
So what he's saying is it's really, really...
It's like being in
intense.
a creaky house, except you're not in a house.
At all. It's like being in a house, but not. Okay, whatever.
Every sound could be a bear, a wolf, or a person out to get you. And if you are in a tent, you can't see what's out there. That's exactly what I was saying at the start of the story.
Yeah. Every sound could be a bear, a wolf, or a person, or a coyote, or a bug, or a squirrel.
Or a guy walking to the porta potty.
Or some guy just wanting his picture taken.
Probably my freakiest experience happened when I was a kid and went camping in Colorado. It was dark, but still too early for us to be tired. So we were just sitting around the fire doing the do. The fuck does that mean?
What the fuck is doing the do? Like Mountain
That must
Dew?
be a saying or something.
I don't know. Is that a saying?
Doing the do? It sounds like a Mountain Dew thing.
We were just sitting around the fire doing the do. Okay, whatever. We'll just go with it.
Yeah. Talking, eating s'mores, whatever. I would say we were telling scary stories, but fuck that. We were probably talking about Disney movies or some shit.
Or some shit. That's the most important part.
Yeah, oh my gosh, have you seen the new Frozen?
Man, let it go already.
Now, keep in mind how dark it is out there. He keeps referencing how dark it is.
So I'm guessing this is going to be a story about how dark it is. How dark was it? It's like being in a house, but not really. It's like being in darkness, but it's pure daylight.
There was no lightning bugs anywhere.
It's like darkness times 10 multiplier.
It was like the Dark Knight, except you couldn't see anything.
Basically.
I'm going to take a little shot, dude. I'm sorry. The story's making me drink.
I know. The story is driving Cleet to drink,
It's
damn
so
it.
fucking dark out there. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't even see the fucking fire. It was so
I couldn't
dark.
even see myself blinking. It so pissed me off.
The light from the fire only goes so far out. See, that's exactly what I was saying. And it creates like this wall where all light stops. I agree with that actually with camping. That's 100% true. We were sitting there when all of a sudden my sister looked up and saw a pair of eyes looking at us.
Ooh.
So it was like in the trees? Is it in the air?
It doesn't specify. It's just a pair of eyes.
Me and my sister started freaking out. We were like right on the edge of losing our minds, just being scared. Our parents calmed us down and told us not to move.
Calm down, but don't fucking move.
It's not a T-Rex, dude. We had no idea what it was. It was nearly impossible to judge how big it was. So we just sat there and waited for it to go away, which it did. It might have been a dinosaur. It was probably a raccoon or some shit.
Some shit. I'm going with some shit.
It was the darkness possessing eyes. But six-year-old me was pretty sure it was the El Chupacabra.
Oh, Chupacabra.
Not too interesting of a story, but definitely freaked us out. My dad admits to this day he wasn't scared, but notoriously has never been able to handle scary movies on any level. It's a very confusing sentence. Is he saying that because of this camping trip?
No, he said, so basically saying that his dad was never, or they were saying that their dad was never afraid, but he hasn't been able to watch scary movies ever, so.
That just seems not related.
It's not.
Okay. I call bullshit, Dad. You were scared.
Oh, Dad called out. Get him.
I bet he showed him this post right after. He's like, fuck you, Dad.
Probably. Oh, but Cleet, just remember how dark it was in that story, man. It was fucking
It was
dark.
probably the darkest dark I've ever seen. It was like Venta Black.
I've seen some dark, but this is by far
The darkest.
All right, this one comes from VTAC. I was hiking the Appalachian Trail northbound in early August a few years ago, and I was a day out of Davenport Gap heading to Hot Springs, North Carolina. I don't remember the exact shelter I was at, but I know it was north of Max Patch. That time of year, there aren't many people on the trail, and other than a couple cars at Max Patch, I hadn't seen or spoken to another person in a full day. I decided to end my hike for the day at about 7 p.m. so I could eat dinner and prepare for bed before dark. I was also filming a little diary of my hike as a gift for my sister. I ate, filmed, reloaded on my water, and hit the hay right as it got dark and the crickets came out.
So is he by himself?
I would assume so.
That takes some balls.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I could camp by myself. It'd be boring, and then I'd be really
But
scared.
nighttime comes and you're like, fuck this. But notice how it's not over-explained. Like, he's not talking
He's not
8 hours about how
editorializing
dark it is, about how the trail was
You
super
couldn't believe
dusty.
how dark it was.
There were so many pebbles on this trail. Like, there's fucking millions of pebbles times 1,000. At about 2:30 a.m., I was startled awake, but not by a noise, rather the absolute silence around me. That silence is deafening. It really is. When there's nothing, it's like your ears are kind of pounding.
Well, the thing to me too is like, well, what woke you up if it's so damn quiet? You know, to me,
he said the silence was what woke him up.
yeah, that'd be creepy.
Yeah.
There's stories of people in the woods, and they talk about how, you know, there's always this ambient noise of like, you know, crickets or the noise of nature. And then all of a sudden it just gets quiet out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like a predator walks in or something like that, and the
And
whole
all
woods
noise just ceases.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the toads, crickets, or owls that you'd expect to hear and that I had heard when I had gone to sleep just 6 hours earlier. I looked around but saw nothing. Everything was perfectly still. I made the decision that I had to get the fuck out of there. So he wakes up at 2:30, there's no noise, he's like, yep, I'm out.
I'd probably stay in my tent.
I packed all my gear in about 5 minutes, threw on my headlamp, grabbed my bear bag, and noped my way up the trail. I'm pretty sure I averaged 4 miles per hour in the pitch black until sunrise. Because of such an early departure, I finished my planned 18 miles into Hot Springs by 10 a.m., which was nice. To this day, I have no idea what was there that morning, but I know something was there. I've encountered tons of predators in the woods, from black bears to coyotes, but I've never experienced a calm like that before. Made me think maybe it was some sort of large cat, or worse, some crazy person. Who knows what would have happened had I stayed until sunrise. Maybe nothing, but I wasn't sticking around to find out.
All right, the next story is from Brooklyn Oatmeal Cookie.
Oh.
This will probably get buried. It didn't. But 2 years ago, myself and 2 others were camping in Yellow Bottom, which is in the Cascades of Oregon.
Yellow Bottom.
About 3 a.m., I woke up hearing what sounded like a bunch of people having a campfire party. Nothing huge, not even scary, just talking, laughing, stuff like that.
I'm confused. So first, what's a campfire party? And why would a party sound scary?
Well, he said it's not scary,
right? But like, why would he have to emphasize that?
Well, I don't know where the story's going to go, but there is folklore of like people having a party in the woods, but it's fake and it's trying to lure you out.
Okay.
Like a Wendigo or
I also
something.
know like furries have parties in the woods.
Yeah, I ain't into that.
I guess that's a little scary.
Yeah, I'd leave. I was kind of pissed, which I would be too, since we'd specifically come here to get away from the college kids and such, and now somebody had set up a camp that sounded like less than 100 yards away. But I couldn't see fire or light through the tent walls, and since that was my big concern, fire in the woods, I just kind of ground my teeth about it and went back to sleep.
Okay.
So, all right, party in the woods. After an hour later, I wake up again. This time, somebody's let a little kid start crying, and it's really annoying. Again,
oh, Jesus.
I think, again, with the lore of the woods, of someone trying to get you, beckoning you.
Yeah.
Like, not wailing, but just sniffles. The long-term crying that kids do. I listened for about 5 minutes, and since I'm not a monster, I've kind of got this prickly feeling that maybe there's trouble.
After 5 minutes, you're still hearing a kid crying.
Like, God, I feel obligated to go check this out.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, little kid crying all alone. Where the hell is their damn parents, you know? I started to get up, and my friend, who I thought was sleeping, grabs my arm, just about giving me a heart attack, and says, "Don't go out there. Just wait."
That's ominous as shit.
Uh-oh. He knows the woods better than me, and he sounded actually scared. So I sit and wait, and yeah, a few minutes later, the crying stops, and the party starts back up.
I think you're onto something. Something's trying to get them into the goddamn woods to eat.
I'm telling you, I know my lore. I don't know why.
Because that's all you do before you sleep, bro.
Yeah, I got demons. Bad demons that are dark. But the weird thing is, I can't really pinpoint now what direction the party was coming from. That's weird.
It's because it's coming from your head, bro.
Because I was trying to tell if maybe it was a group who had found the kid, and now they were all talking together. But I couldn't tell what direction it was from.
So they're just partying. They stop because they hear a kid crying. They pick him up and they go back and say, "Hey, we're partying
Well,
again.
welcome to the party, kid.
This party never stops in these woods. Stop crying, boy.
Drink this, smoke this.
There's no crying while you're camping.
What are you, 6? Drink this.
Come on. Little peyote.
The party went on for about another hour, just until dawn. Then all of a sudden, nothing. Like, I was completely freaked out by then, and I think I might have made a noise when it just stopped like that. My friend, who hadn't even sat up the entire time, just said, "Stick Indians," and then rolled over and fell back asleep.
Stick Indians?
I've never heard of that. We'll have to Google it. I got up when the sun was up and made coffee and kind of looked around, but I'm not brave like that and didn't go far. But there was nothing. No campfire, no tents I could see through the trees. Nothing. We packed up that day, and I asked him what a stick Indian was, and he wouldn't tell me. I had to go back and Google it, and even now I'm not sure if what's online is true or made up, or what. But if you look it up, apparently it's some kind of Yakina forest spirit that lures people out, by making noises like crying babies or people having a party and then, I don't know, eats them or something.
Or something.
So that's my creepy thing in the woods. I don't have proof, but people who know the Pacific Northwest, it was way up in Yellow Bottom, past the official camps on the left-hand fork on the main road, down the logging road, and right by the river. The campsite with the huge fallen over dead trees. That's the one. Me, I've never been back up there. No, sir. This reminds me of a story. It's really quick, okay? I don't know if I've already brought it up on this podcast, but it gave me the spooks, okay?
The spooks.
So there was this girl in high school, Native American, but she told me this story that she was camping in the middle of the woods. And so she was like in a truck that had a shell, and she was sleeping in the back. And she woke up in the middle of the night to someone knocking on her door. And she looked up, and, it was a full moon, so she could see the person. And it was a relative, and they're like, they weren't talking. They were just using their hand motions saying, like, come out.
Beckoning her to come out.
Yeah, I probably already told you that. And her words specifically was, I felt like she was beckoning me out to come out of the truck to, like, join her in the woods.
Nope.
And she started to do it, like she was in a trance. And then she realized, like, this cousin didn't go out camping with them. So she didn't know, like, who it was. And she got so scared she couldn't move. And then she woke up and it was morning.
Yeah. Just go back to bed at that point. Like, nope. You didn't come camping. You're fake. No. All right, so this next one comes from Dirty Mick. All right, Dirty Mick. I was doing an overnight in a nearby nature preserve, testing out some new gear. I'd hiked that place many, many times and knew it well. I chose a spot a little too close to the water, however, and being Michigan in the summer, dusk brought mosquitoes. Dude, I hate mosquitoes. I get eaten alive every time there's mosquitoes nearby.
I hate them.
All of the mosquitoes. I made a small, punky fire that kept them at bay. But once I put it out and turned in, sharks came cruising. Okay.
What? What does that mean?
Actual sharks?
Like Sharknado?
Mosquitoes. Yeah, Sharknado. That's what it is. I tried to stick it out, but by 0 dark 100, I got the fuck out of Dodge. Okay, is this guy like military? It was really a lovely night, though. Clear sky, full moon. It was nice having the forest to myself.
I want to know how dark it was, though,
0 dark 100. So he says, I tried to stick it out, clear sky, full moon, yada yada, except I didn't. I was walking a trail below a ridgeline, and I could sense something keeping my pace above. A bit behind and to the left. I walked, it walked. I stopped, it stopped. The area was too densely wooded to make out anything by moonlight. It made barely a sound as it moved, just an occasional leaf or twig cracking. I've got pretty exceptional hearing and smell, and there was just a hole where I thought it should have been. So he has exceptional hearing and smell.
He's a really
this guy's a
exceptional man.
If it were a predator big or bold enough to stalk me like that, I had a strong feeling that taking off in a run would have made it give chase. So I walked. For miles, this thing was tracking me. I think that was the first time I ever had a cold sweat, just trying to remain calm and not give in to the flight urge. After a couple of hours, I got near the entrance of the park, close enough that you could make out the ugly yellow of the sodium lights near the main road. Round about then, I noticed that whatever was there just wasn't anymore. It let me exit the park unmolested, but with a new respect for the things that go bump in the night.
All right, this one is by Germ.
Germ.
So it actually, I need to read this a certain way because that's what it tells me to do. I got hammered off a bag of wine in this area of the forest in Colorado, USA. I woke up in my underwear lying against a tree with a black bear. They're not that big, but still. A fucking black bear 25 yards away from me.
That's how I told you to read it?
Yeah.
All right.
It's not offensive.
Well, good for you. You hammered off a bag of wine.
Could you imagine? Like, you're going camping and you just get trashed. Like, you're puking, making a real ass out of yourself. and then
fuck you, dude.
And then, like, you just wake up in the middle of, like, the forest.
In your underwear.
In your underwear.
Tree, like,
what the fuck happened?
Oh, fuck you, though, dude. That's not good. This one comes from Vincimon. On one of my hiking trips, me and my friends woke up to bundles of twigs in front of our tents. A bundle for each 2 tents. There were 2 of us on each tent. It had fresh leaves on it, and none of us had any idea of who might have put it there. We just thought it was strange and that somebody's probably trolling, but then we remembered that wailing noise that almost kept us awake all night. The thought altogether creeped us out that we have decided to immediately pack up and never go off trail for the rest of the hike. First and foremost, they don't talk about the wailing noise all night. Like, that's the first thing that would set me
Oh,
off.
by the way, there was some wailing noises.
We woke up, there's some sticks, but the wailing noise is whatever, I don't care. All right. Well, I think that will about wrap up this Reddit thread. Thanks for going camping with us.
It was a good adventure in the woods.
Some pretty spooky stuff. But hey, just think to yourself, the next time you're camping, you see some stuff, try and rule out fireflies, try and rule out lightning bugs.
Try to gauge how dark it is.
How dark it is. And the most important message of all, and I mean this, is if you find people in the woods and they want their picture taken, don't be an asshole and just take their picture.
Yeah, that guy was a jerk.
I mean, they were just trying to have fun. But no, in all seriousness, guys, thanks for tuning in again this week. We really appreciate you. For those who've been following us every single week, you're all amazing. And again, we have a lot of fun content coming up, a lot of creepy stuff. So, but if you have suggestions, again, you know where to send it to us. But I think this wraps it up.
Check out that picture on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. As always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next week.